Okay, do this. Let's do this, people. All right. Hey, not a ton designed for tonight or set up for tonight. Um, sorry, designed. I was thinking program design because that's what I'm going to do here in a second. Is do some program design for some individuals, and yeah. So group group program, the heroic base program is posted. If you are in that, then that's up. All right. This week's is up. And yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Maybe I'll pull that up in a second and I'll talk about that. Actually, I'm gonna do that right now. So stand by. I'm gonna go and pull this up. Okay. So we're looking at this week's program. We have wide stance box squat on Monday. I'm just gonna run through just uh, the basic strength work of each day, and just kind of some things to look at for points of performance on those things, right? So wide stance box squat, reps range from 12 down to 2, so you're working to a heavy double. Now with the wide stance, you are looking at a higher box. You can't get as low. Like when you talk about low box squat, you're looking at like 12, 14 inches, somewhere in that range. When you're talking about high box squat, you're looking at like 20, right? About parallel is where you're looking. Now, if you start getting upwards of 24, that's a little bit high. That ends up being like above parallel for most people. So it really depends on how tall you are, but we're looking at like anywhere from, I would say, 16 to 20 inches is a good height for your higher box squat, wide stance box squat. The wider you go, the heavier you're going to get because the less depth you're going to go. Additionally, you're really going to get in your glutes. Okay. Uh, you will work your hips open, right? And your glutes super active. So if you're dealing with anything that's like hamstring issues, knee issues, patellar tendon issues, like these are great for that. So if you're dealing with anything like that, you want to bias more wider stance stuff and stay off of knee flexion as much as you can. And you kind of load the hip a little bit more. Usually, people that have those issues end up needing this a little bit more anyway, because they're overusing their patellar tendons or hamstrings, whatever. So, yeah. All right. Day 2, dynamic effort, close grip bench, 9 sets of 3. Whenever you're going dynamic effort, you want 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So you're working 3 reps, boom, 1, 2, 3, rack, rest for 30 seconds, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom, rack. You're looking at like 10 minutes, right? At the most 10 minutes, and you're done with your strength work for the day. Okay. Strength work for Wednesday, chin ups, 10 by 7. So we're going volume of body weight stuff. Body weight movements are super critical. The more I get into certain types of training, the more that it's very clear that body weight training is super important. All right. If you can't do 10, 15 pull ups straight, then like you need to keep working on it. That is a skill that needs to be addressed, especially in a tactical population. All right. Box squat, 10 by 2 on Thursday. And you are looking at like 45, 50%. Okay. Uh, Stay light, stay fast, 10 by 2. Again, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Okay. 30 seconds rest between these, anyway, I should say. So there you go. And then the last one, you have behind the neck push press on Friday. This is max effort. You want to go 5 by 5. Okay. So we're looking for a 5 set, boom, dip, drive, press. Okay. Behind the neck is really, really cool. I like loading from it's got to be a snatch grip though. I mean, you can work your hands in tighter if you want. Usually it's a little bit more comfortable. You go wider, right? But it's shorter distance, so you're able to move more weight than a push press in the front. And the snatch grip actually stabilizes things a lot more than staying tight, getting overhead like that. Like it's a little bit easier to maintain a position like that for most people, right? Um, So there you go. There's your main strength components for this week. If you're interested in this program, pretty comprehensive conjugate style strength program. If you're interested in that, like, I'll post the link, okay, and then you can get signed up, and it's like $7 or something stupid cheap. It's as cheap as I could make on Train Heroic without making it free, because I can't make it free. I can't, because it won't let me. So you have to have a price on there. Otherwise, you can't do it. Otherwise, I would. All right. So there you go. $7. That's it for a whole lot of content. Anyway, moving on. All right. Wednesday, I'll be having neck surgery. I've had bad C5-6, C6-7 discs for probably the last 5 years, and I've been kind of limping through with a lot of nerve pain down into my arms and my hands. And guys, can you stop? So that's coming up on Wednesday. So I will be out of the loop a little bit for probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I should hopefully be back up and running. Hopefully by the end of the week, maybe Saturday, Sunday, definitely Monday. So that'll be that. If you need anything and you have my phone number, go ahead and hit me up. I will be around. If not, then I will hit you up when I get back onto the internets and such. But yeah, a lot of stuff that I've been thinking with this is like, if you know my history, I've had a lot of orthopedic surgeries, sports, injuries, accidents, all of it, right? Both my hips are replaced. I've got a screw in my foot. I've had pins in my hand. I've had this surgery on my neck prior, not a replacement, but a discectomy and a decompression. Elbow scope, knee scope, shoulder scope, like you name it. I've had a lot of it. It gets old. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to getting surgery again. Um, you start feeling like Rocket, where it's like been ripped apart and put back together so many times. I didn't ask for this, and it gets easy to get down, and it gets difficult to deal with. So you start feeling like, man, I am going to have to rebuild and start over again, and some of that's true. You have to take steps backwards in order to reset and rebuild. But some of it's not true, because it always feels worse than it is in the moment, right? Nothing's ever as good or as bad as you think it is in the moment. When you look back at it, you're like, yeah, that wasn't that bad. Or like, yeah, it was fun, but it wasn't as fun as I thought it was at the moment. So you got to remember that. At least this is what I'm telling myself, right? So the strength that you build translates through life. And you get cut on, you get hurt, you have to take a little bit of a break. Like, it'll stay with you. And it's hard to remember in the moment when you're stressed and you're like, I gotta change everything about who I am and what I do. And again, sometimes you have to change things. Like when I got my hips replaced, I knew, like, I'm not going to be doing Olympic weightlifting the same way I did before. Okay. I'm not going to be doing CrossFit the same way I did before. I'm not going to be doing certain things. I'm not going to be running the same way I did before. But hey, things change. You have to adapt to who you are today, not who you think you should be, and who you were. You got to adapt to who you are today. All right. And once you get cut on, you can't unring that bell. Now you're getting surgery for a reason. Like, again, I'm telling myself all this. Like, I'm getting surgery for a reason. The reason is that I can't do the shit that I want to do the way that I want to do it. So, get the surgery. On the back end, you're not the same person. Right? I'm gonna have metal, right, holding me together. More of it. right? Uh, so I requested adamantium too. They said it doesn't exist. I told them look harder, and then I asked for vibranium. They were like, "Well, that doesn't exist either." Um, so I was like, "Well, this is bullshit." Uh, so anyway, yeah. So that's what I got going on. Uh, when you talk about rebuilding, right? When you talk about resetting, um, taking a step back, looking forward, then you are looking at simplicity. You have to strip away anything fancy, anything like high speed. You have to strip it out. Okay. And then you go right back to the basics. Like, what are the basics that I need? What are the basics that are going to move the needle the most? And that's something I've really been looking into with the um, football team that I'm coaching is like we have to make it more basic. We cannot do anything cool, right? In the air quotes, until we can do, master the fundamentals and do 50 push-ups, 40 push-ups without stopping, 10 pull-ups without stopping. Um, before once we can do those things, then we can start moving on, but not until then. So, surgery is the same way. You get cut on and you got to take some time off, heal up, and then start working from the bottom up. Like I said, the good news is that once you build strength, it lasts for a long time. So you just got to lean into that and know that it's going to be all right. All right, so that's what I got tonight. That's pretty much it. We went through programming, talked about basics, lean into the basics, lean into the fundamentals. If you're restarting or starting at all, then just know like the basics are going to carry you through. You have to be able to master those before you can go on to anything else. And it really doesn't take that long. It doesn't take as long as you think. You just got to commit to it and get after it, right? Um, but really too, like when you talk about basics, a lot of issues that people have is they can't stick to a program. If your program is full of basics, then it's easy to stick to it because you just keep doing it over and over again. You don't have to worry about a program necessarily. You just keep doing basic shit over and over again until you're really good at it. Then you can start looking at programs, right? We talk about lifetime strength. There's no, 6 week hypertrophy block for lifetime strength. It is a literal lifetime. So you keep building and you keep lifting things and moving things and being strong and that kind of stuff. So, man, nothing, nothing really that cool. Like if you're looking for secrets and tricks and hacks, like there's not any. So there you go. There's your secret. There's your hack. There isn't one. And I'll leave you with that. No hacks. Just work. Later.